Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Army of Darkness. Now, this is continuing my series of reviews where I try to review all the films in the Evil Dead franchise. If you thought I forgot about doing that, it's happening. And yeah, I didn't forget. I'm taking my time, I guess. Army of Darkness is the third film in the Evil Dead franchise. It was originally going to be called Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness, but they went with Army of Darkness instead. Ash, who has been trapped in the Middle Ages after the events of Evil Dead 2 and has to find his way back by getting the Necronomicon from the Army of the Dead, and then with the Necronomicon he can be sent back to the present and his job at S-Smart. What I think is interesting about the Evil Dead franchise is Sam Raimi directed a film between each Evil Dead installment. Between the first Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, he directed Crime Wave. Between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, he directed Darkman. And everyone, it feels like he's grown quite a bit as a director between each of them. And I think that's really interesting because I think, most film franchises now, when you have the same director do 3 films, they do them pretty much back to back. How Sam Raimi himself would later do with the Spider-Man films. I notice a big difference in the kind of director he is from each of the Evil Dead films. The first one was his rite of passage. It's his first real feature film. The second one, he's definitely grown a lot as a director. He knows how to do a lot more tricks. He knows how to do a lot of more stuff because it's his third film. When you get to Army of Darkness, he's done Darkman. He's had a financial hit, actually, at this point that wasn't an Evil Dead movie. This is more of Sam Raimi Hollywood director. This is far more structured than Evil Dead 2, which has a lot more funny gags in it that go away from plot. It has a much bigger budget than the previous 2 Evil Dead films. There's a lot of extras, there's a lot of big special effects. It's a far more commercial movie and a commercial-minded movie than the other 2 Evil Dead movies. This is like a Hollywood production. This is the most Hollywood production, I guess, that there had been of an Evil Dead film until the more recent one. He doesn't lose his soul in doing so. I think, when someone says that it's more of a Hollywood production, you can think of that in a negative way, but I don't look at Army of Darkness in a negative way about that. I think Army of Darkness, he kept the soul intact of the Evil Dead franchise, and it still has the dark humor, the funny humor. It's a lot still like a Tex Avery cartoon, like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like a Three Stooges movie. It's a lot like all of his influences that went into those films, and it still has the humor in it. And I think the humor of these films is what's really important. The thing about Evil Dead 2 versus this film is this film, since it's more structured, it's more of a Hollywood film. In Evil Dead 2, it feels like anything can happen at any time. It has this crazy energy to it, and it has this cultish sensibility. And I think that isn't as much in this, but it still has it in there. It's not totally devoid of it. They didn't forget about it, but it's not as prominent. This was shot by Bill Pope, who would work with Sam Raimi on Spider-Man 2 and 3, and he shot all the Matrix films. He shot Team America, he shot Clueless, he shot Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He's one of my favorite DPs, and he's a great DP for someone who's doing action and comedy. Him and Sam Raimi work really well together. I love it when they work together. One of the things I notice when they don't work together, I don't think Sam Raimi is developing as much with his cinematography, but when Bill Pope's there, I feel like, oh, he's really doing something. He's moving the camera forward. Even though Spider-Man 3 is a really bad movie, when Bill Pope's shooting it, he's still doing these amazing, incredible, ambitious shots. And I think a lot of the stuff in here, they needed to transfer the Evil Dead cinematography to a Hollywood production. I think Bill Pope was the perfect DP. Him and Sam Raimi had worked before on Darkman, but I think in this film, he knew how to do really cool, impressive shots. And I think there are some incredible cinematography in Evil Dead 2, but he's still he's a great cinematographer, and he can do that kind of cool showy stuff, but he can also do the Hollywood big production stuff to really show off these sets they have and the extras they have, and also keep the tone right and keep it kind of having that frenetic, crazed, cartoony, silly energy. And I think Bill Pope's the perfect person for that. Bill Pope's a cool DP because who goes from the Matrix movies and the Spider-Man movies and then does Team America? I mean, I think Bill Pope's an awesome DP. Just because of you look at his filmography and you're like, that guy clearly has a good sense of humor. It was made because of a financial agreement basically between Universal and Dino De Laurentiis, and it was kind of because Darkman was a financial success. They wanted him to make his next movie with them, and he was like, oh, I want to do Army of Darkness. And Army of Darkness had been in production since before Darkman, but this is how it worked out. Sam Raimi was shown storyboards by one of his special effects guys from Victor Fleming's Joan of Arc, and he actually used some of the storyboards in the battle scenes, which I kind of now want to see Joan of Arc, Victor Fleming's Joan of Arc. And Victor Fleming is actually credited with, he's not the sole director on either, but more so on Gone with the Wind, but he's credited with Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz, although a lot of directors worked on both. And it's definitely someone I think Sam Raimi obviously really likes, because we all know he likes Wizard of Oz. It's interesting to see how much they all change from the first film to this film. Bruce Campbell has such a great performance. I mean, he's playing two roles, but he can play Bugs Bunny in this movie. He can play a good Bugs Bunny, and he's really good at it. You know, he's good at being smart alecky. He's a lot jerkier in this movie than he is in the previous film, but you know, he's been through a lot, so I understand. He's very funny, he's very silly, there's a lot of physical comedy. It's a really demanding role. I don't think Bruce Campbell gets enough respect for these roles outside of, you know, cult and horror conventions. A lot of people say this and Oz the Great Powerful have a lot of similarities. I think it actually kind of does, but not too much. But I'm sure if I watch both back to back, which I'm semi-curious to do, maybe when Oz comes out on DVD or plays on HBO, I'll entertain that idea. But I know like the graveyard sequence is very similar. It's interesting to see not only how Sam Raimi grew throughout these three films, but how he eventually grew into like a major motion picture director who makes like big budget event movies. From Evil Dead to Oz the Great and Powerful is a really interesting journey. When I look at Army of Darkness, I can see it more than I can see it in the previous two Evil Dead films. Army of Darkness is kind of the future of Sam Raimi. It shows he's going to be a Hollywood director. It took him a while to become like the Spider-Man guy. Bridget Fonda has a small, like almost a cameo in the beginning where they kind of again remake the Evil Dead story. It looked like they used some of the footage of Evil Dead 2 in it, but I wasn't sure if like they're just so good at filming the story. I like Bridget Fonda in a little cameo. It's kind of weird because she was kind of a movie star at the time, but she has such a small role. All the influences like from Gulliver's Travels to Jason and the Argonauts which Jason and the Argonauts obviously because of the Skeleton Army and the Three Stooges and everything. I mean, you can pick it out, but I love how he uses it like a kid who just loves certain movies. I don't feel like he loves and has as much fun with movies as he does with these Evil Dead films, and Army of Darkness still has so much fun in it, and I always have fun watching all these movies. And I felt like when I was watching Army of Darkness, I almost take it for granted, these movies, because then when I watch all his other movies, I'm like, man, Sam Raimi's great. But the reason I think Sam Raimi's great is because of the Evil Dead films. I always like Army of Darkness. I like its story. I love Bruce Campbell. It's a good way to end it. I love the S-Smart stuff. Apparently S-Smart is a real chain in Mexico, but it's a clever pun. And when you watch any franchise, you don't really see people grow as much as you see Raimi and Campbell grow throughout these three films as both actor and director, and they're so perfect together. I still think the best actor to work with Sam Raimi is Bruce Campbell, and they work so well together that at this point they make it look easy. Watching this, it makes me wish they would work together again, because I feel like they could still have that magic together. It fits Sam Raimi's temperament perfectly, and it's not like any other actor. I mean, I also really like him working with Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man movies, but Bruce Campbell and him grew up together. I feel like they have almost the same sense of humor, and you know, Bruce Campbell doesn't have to have it explained to him or have a movie shown to him. Bruce Campbell just knows it, and you can feel that in his performance. Like, he's in on the joke as well. That makes for a really good team, and you can really tell that with Army of Darkness. And what you get is an awesome, fun cult movie by two guys who really get their own sensibilities. So if you have seen Army of Darkness and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. So this isn't the end of the Evil Dead series. It is the end in terms of reviewing features, but I am still going to do Within the Woods. That will be the final installment. I wanted to get this all done before May, but there's just been way too much going on. I feel like this series has always been permanently delayed, whether it's been because of my computer problems with the water damage to my computer or my move. This was really all supposed to happen in the week leading up to the new Evil Dead, but I'm determined to finish all of this. So Within the Woods will come out next Thursday. Thank you everyone who's stuck around to watch all of these Evil Dead reviews. It's been a real thrill actually to watch them all again, because I don't feel like if I hadn't done this review series, I probably wouldn't have seen them again. It's been a lot of fun rewatching all the Evil Dead movies and getting to watch them as friends. So it's been actually kind of quite a joy, and even though it's taking a while and I kind of would like the burden of them to go away in terms of actually making the videos, it's actually been a lot of fun watching them. I will see you at least with this series next week on next Thursday with
within the woods, and that will be the end of this Evil Dead series, and we can all move on with our lives. And I hope to see you then, and thank you for watching.